If there's a car manufacturer that should pride itself on its no-nonsense approach to family cars, then as far as I'm concerned, it should be Škoda. I mean, let's be honest with you, if you look at their sort of like general sort of like range at the moment, there is something pretty much for everyone. There's a small Supermarine, the Fabia, there's a sort of like a C-sector hatchback that's covered by the Scala, and the slightly bigger Octavia, which you can also have as an estate, remember. And then of course for the larger families, then there's the big, aptly named Superb, which also comes as a large estate car. And then there's their SUV offerings, because there is pretty much one for each size. You've got your very, very small sort of like Enyaq, then you've got your Elroq, and then the bigger Kodiaq, which is available with 7 seats. Yet oddly enough, when it comes to their electric offerings, they've only really given us one so far, and that has been the Enyaq. Now the Enyaq is a great car, it's a real favourite of ours at AutoEV. But as I say, they seem to have been dragging their heels into sort of like giving us more on the electrified front. Well, that changes now. Because now there is this, the new Škoda Elroq, which is, as its name would suggest, an electric version of the Elroq. Welcome to this week's edition of Sneak Peeks. Welcome to the new Škoda Elroq, and as always, welcome to AutoEV. Now this is a slightly hurried version of Sneak Peeks because we've literally been given 20 minutes with this car due to some unforeseen circumstances here in the undergrounds of Amsterdam. Never mind, but in my video you will also see Tommy, Gadgets Boy, and also Tim Rodey from Tim Rodey Drive Stuff. So there's a nice hello there from Tim. So please excuse sort of like the noise and stuff that's going on, because they say we're all literally trying to get our videos done of this car. Which reminds me, talking of videos, make sure that you are subscribed to the AutoEV channel. Then once you've done that, press the bell button down below, because that's where you get notified if our next video is uploaded and it's gone live. Once you've done it, if you enjoy it, then make sure you give it a thumbs up, and of course, don't forget, leave me your comments down below. So look, Škoda's electric offerings, well, as I say, up until now, they have been sort of like a little bit sparse, but with the ones they've given us, the Enyaq, and if you can recall back, they did an electric version of their small city car, the Citigo, have actually been quite good, and they've been channel favourites of ours. Even the Enyaq, all these years on, is still a firm favourite of ours when it comes to big family EVs. But now they're pushing forward, and we're seeing a new design language with Škoda as well. And this is the first car that we're going to see it with. So we'll walk you around the car. As I say, it might not be quite as in-depth as these normally are, but as I say, we are pushing against it in time, and these two guys need to get their videos done as well. So bear with me a second. Let's start with styling. So we'll start with design at the front, and it is a new design language for Škoda, because your first thing you'll notice is they've done away with the big Škoda logo that normally sits here. It's got the sort of like muscular kind of bonnet that you expect from the other cars, but as I say, rather than the Škoda logo, it's now got the Škoda lettering with the accent at the top of the S, and it's the first car that's going to get this from Škoda. It has what they call the tech deck, which is this area here, so there's no grille obviously. This particular car doesn't have it, but you can have it with a sort of like a new interpretation of the crystal face that we first saw in the Enyaq, where you've got the lights going across. But they've now split headlamps now into 4. So you've got the upper area here, obviously left and right, where you've got daytime running lights and turn indicators, and then the lower headlamps where you've got your low beam and your high beam set down there. And as I say, obviously that's mirrored on that side, so the 4 sort of like lamp unit is going to be a Škoda design feature. All the cooling is done down at the bottom here in this kind of frontal area, so obviously air's taken in through there. And this tech deck area here will be very, very similar to what Polestar do with their sort of like their sort of like new face across the front. So in other words, all the tech that's going to come on, so for radar guided, the front camera, that type of thing, that's going to be embedded in there. But it's quite a strong looking front, and as I say, it's very different to what Škoda have done so far, yet still familiar enough if maybe you're moving from something like a Elroq and you go into the EV market for the first time. It's quite a handsome looking little thing, I do quite like it. But yeah, chunky, that's what I would say, chunky. Now, when we talk about size of the car, you're looking at a car that's around about 4.5 metres long, but it has got the same wheelbase as an Enyaq, believe it or not. So interior space is going to be an absolute maximum. Wheel sizes start at 19 inches, go up to 21 inches depending on model, and you've got some quite clever aero work going on in the car, which is obviously going to help with this efficiency. Completely flat underneath the car. You've got this wheel gap reducer here, which is just this little area of extended kind of wheel arch that's going to take sort of like airflow around these big alloy wheels. They reckon that on the sort of like on highway driving, that can add up to 4 kilometres of range alone on that. In terms of its aerodynamic efficiency, you're looking at a drag coefficient of 0.26 CD, which is a little bit less than the petrol engine Elroq. I think that's 2.29 CD, nearly 3. This area here is very, very similar to what you get obviously on the bigger Enyaq, this sort of like little kind of grille pattern here, and then of course you get nice kind of big standalone mirrors there. A nice kind of strong sort of like arching kind of roof line leading up into this high boot spoiler here, and again nice big chunky door handles, all of which feature keyless release. Nice sweep up there that comes in there, and of course your lower kind of body cladding down there as well. And as I say, if you think about size-wise what the car's going to compete with, then it's going to be things such as Hyundai's Kona, probably Kia Niro, maybe the EV3 certainly as well, Peugeot E2008, but we'll talk a bit more about that in the competition section. But that's the sort of size of car that it is, that's the market sector it fits in, and as I say, if you think about it as an electric version of the petrol engine Elroq, and where the size of that car fits, then you're bang on the money. Now the rear styling is very much like the rest of the car, very strong, very chiselled. Perhaps maybe at the back it's a little bit derivative. There are a lot of the kind of Volkswagen Group products which you could, if you were to take away the Škoda lettering, think that this was, such as maybe the Seat or the Volkswagen versions, but it's still nice. There's still an element of Škoda about it. Obviously, as I say, there's the new lettering across the back with the accent in the S, model designation there, and these kind of nice kind of hatched lights, which are very, very similar to what you see at the front when you have the digital crystal face on it. Obviously a rear wiper, which will please me, then definitely. High mounted brake light is tucked up right underneath the spoiler. This rear spoiler is helped with airflow, and as I say, underneath the car you've got a completely flat underbody. So the aerodynamics of the car has been a real sort of like thing for Škoda to concentrate on, to try and get the efficiency up there. So along with the big battery, the aerodynamics, it should deliver on that range that it's hoping for. Round about the bottom here, again, you get a nice kind of diffuser area, the nice little kind of air blades there at the side, and integrated lights there, and you, of course, the numerical badge across there indicating what battery size you have. Electronic tailgate release, which the handle's underneath here, and your obligatory reverse camera as well. So what do we think in terms of styling? Well, as I say, it's very strong, it's very Škoda. It's the new kind of chiselled look. As I say, there are certain elements of it, the car does look very kind of modern and really quite good, and there are certain elements of it, as I say, where it looks a little bit maybe derivative as well, perhaps, as I say, like this rear view. But it's a handsome little car, I think. But what do I know about these things? It's you guys that might be out there buying it. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. So, practical Škoda, absolutely. 470 litres of boot space is what you're looking at here, and if you fold down the standard 60-40 split rear seat, that will go up to 1,580. Now that 470 litre boot is pretty much best in class. It's bigger than even the Kia EV3, which is good. It's bigger than the likes of the Volkswagen T-Roc as well, and of course plenty of others in its class, including way bigger than the Smart #1. There's also very sort of like clever thoughts that Škoda have put into it, such as you can have this optional net underneath the parcel shelf here, which will take 3 kilos of weight, so you can hang your charging cables in there. Although quite why you'd need to, I don't know, because there is actually charging cable space underneath the boot floor. You're also able to option the car with a movable boot floor as well, and this parcel shelf can adjust to different heights as well, depending obviously on what you need. There's some decent sort of like bits of sort of like bracing at the side here, for putting taller items in, and there's some little hooks there as well where you can certainly hang bags from and so forth from there. There's a ski hatch as well, so if you're carrying longer loads, you've been to your local DIY emporium and you go out some planks of wood or some shelving units, they will go through there as well. So there's lots of clever little features on the car that you can certainly sort of like, you know, as I say, that Škoda have really kind of thought about family cars, including obligatory ice scraper, which comes in to the rear hatchback in there. So that's quite clever too. So yeah, in terms of practicality wise, I'd say, like the Enyaq, one of the best in class, and certainly enough for most small families' needs. So, in terms of rear accommodation, well, it's very good. You've got a flat floor across, or near as damn it flat floor across, because remember, you've got your little removable consoles in here, which are great from Škoda. So that just goes down there, and of course you've got a couple of cup holders there and some storage for your kids' sweets and stuff. Depending obviously on spec, you'll also be able to get things such as heated rear seats as well. Lovely practical sort of like pockets on the backs of the front seats, a separate one for like a smaller thing like a mobile, and then bigger ones for like comics and iPads and so forth. Headroom is excellent. I mean, I know I'm a shorty, only 5'8", but headroom is huge. I could wear quite a large hat in here, or perhaps even a crown, depending obviously on what I was allowed to wear. Knee room is good. I mean, that seat is quite far back, even for me. And as I say, I've got plenty of knee room, and as well, I can get my feet completely under the front seat as well. You've also got, oh, he says, a folding down armrest with extra cup holders in it as well, so storage is very good. Plus there is a couple of USB-C ports down there too, and as usual, as you would expect from the likes of Škoda, ISOFIX points are nice and easy to get access to for child seats. And again, depending obviously on the option packs and so forth, you've got things such as the sun blinds in the rear doors. Thoughtful things from Škoda. So a familiar interior with the Elroq is certainly, if you've come from the likes of, say, the Enyaq, or you've been used to the Enyaq, because it's very, very similar in here. And that's both a good and a bad thing in some respects. It's maybe not quite as radical as you maybe would have thought that they would have been with a very kind of new EV on the market space. But what I will say is it's very usable, and as I say, because it borrows an awful lot from the Enyaq, it makes it a very usable interior as far as I'm concerned. Now we start with this 5-inch driver display, which is the one I really like, where it's embedded down into the dashboard, where you look through the steering wheel into it here, and it gives you your main points, such as, you know, your speed, your state of charge, your range to go, that type of thing. So all the driver focused information is there in front of you in this little 5-inch display. It's very clear, it's very easy to see. You've also got an augmented reality head-up display, which will be an option as well, which is excellent. That gives an awful lot of information on the car, but as I say, that will be an option. You move across and you've got this 13-inch display here. Now this is Škoda's latest software and its user interface system, which again is very, very good. It's very easy to use. As I say, if you've been used to sort of like, you know, the Škoda so far, there's a lot to like about it. It sort of responds quickly. It's nice, it's big, it's clear. It doesn't have the kind of fiddliness of the rest of the Volkswagen Group cars. I think Škoda are probably the best with this new system, in fairness. Although I say there's still those irritable slider controls for volume here, but you can counter that by using the steering wheel controls, which are these lovely little thumb scroll wheels here, which I really do like. Some cars get the 2-spoke wheel, some get the 3, depending on trim level. And of course, as I say, like the outside of the car, your Škoda lettering across here rather than the badge. They're really quite well equipped as standard too. So depending obviously on model, you'll get things such as, you know, electric seats, heated seats, you know, Bluetooth. You'll also get things like wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, that type of thing. And there's some physical buttons underneath here, so not everything is controlled through the screen. You can take shortcuts, things like your parking assist. Now there's an option of a remote park assist as well, where you can actually remote park the car from your phone app at a distance of up to 4 meters away, which is quite cool, especially you get tight parking spaces. There's a mode button there, your park button, climate control, and your maximum defrost and heated rear screen. Storage is good. You get a wireless charging pad down there, which is a 15-watt charger, and it also comes with ventilation, active ventilation to keep your phone cool. And then there's storage underneath the console here, as well as a little tray there. The one thing I will say is the cup holders, I don't think are really quite big enough in Škoda. They need to up the game when it comes to the cup holder, because I can't get my Yeti flask in there. Obviously other cups are available. Gear shift lozenge, as you'd expect, really nice and neat, falls easily to hand. And then you've got more storage in the centre console here with a removable waste paper basket, and this has an adjustable height depending obviously on what you want. Now in terms of choice of materials, this is quite important, because not only is it exceptionally well built, the materials feel really high quality, but there's also a huge message of sustainability. And if you're a regular viewer of AutoEV, you'll know that's a real thing for me. I like the talk of sustainability. Now, I'm going to read from my note here, so apologies for that. But basically, on some specs, such as the Design Selection Loft, it uses an upholstery made of a thing called recycled fibre, which is 78% recycled PET from old plastic drinking bottles. And it actually has quite a nice feel to it, in fairness. It's quite grippy and it feels quite good. So I have to admit, I think that's a great, you know, it's a nice new material, and I really do like the feel of it. And of course, the rest is obtained from new PET plastics. and it's they're mechanically recycled fabrics, and they're sorted, and they don't use any additional chemicals in them. So again, Škoda are really going for a big message of sustainability and recycled materials in the car. And I think that's an important message, especially for younger buyers that are probably going to be looking at this car as, you know, their family car. So as another win, as far as I'm concerned, of the interior from Škoda. So whilst it might not look as radical at first, solid, dependable, nice use of materials, good message of sustainability, the right amount of tech that it's not going to scare your granny away, but enough that you're going to be able to use it if you're used to, sort of, you know, your phone and using apps and so forth like that. So yeah, another big thumbs up from me as far as the interior of the new Elroq is concerned for Škoda. Now, whilst the guys are going on with the rest of their videos, let me talk to you about battery sizing and charging, because obviously that's what you want to know about. And I have to say, a bit like here with the recent EV3, this is an excellent car when it comes to its potential range and delivering on that range. Now, basically, you're going to get a choice of 3 different batteries in the car across 4 separate models. It's going to start with the Elroq 50, which has a 52 kilowatt hour battery. Now, that's a usable capacity of 52 kilowatt hours, and that's going to deliver a range of up to 350 kilometers on the WLTP scale. When you jump up to the 60, that's a usable capacity battery of 59 kilowatt hours, and that increases the range to 390 kilometers. And then you get the first of the bigger battery, the 77 kilowatt hour battery, and that is going to be first seen in the 85 model, and that's going to deliver the longest range of up to 560 kilometers. The second 85 model is the 85X, which means all-wheel drive, so in other words, dual motors. And that car is going to deliver a WLTP range up to 550 kilometres. So really good range from this little car. And as I say, it's quite a small car when you think about the market space it's going to compete in, so do bear that in mind. Now, DC charging, it's going to be capable of up to 170 kilowatts, depending on model. But even so, the 2 smaller battery cars are going to go from the 10 to 80% benchmark in 25 minutes. On to the larger sized 77 kilowatt hour cars, that's still 10 to 80% benchmark is only 28 minutes. You're also going to be able to get the car with onboard 11 kilowatt charging as standard. Now, you are going to have to forgive the notepads and the iPads, because, as I say, we've literally just got here this morning and been given our media kit, so we are literally just reading it, all the facts and figures that we've been given this morning. But let's talk about performance at the moment. So, as I say, bear in mind, you're going to have, as I say, those 4 separate models, the 60, the 50, the 85 and the 85X. The lead-in model 50 is a single motor, rear-mounted unit, and that's going to be capable of delivering up to 170 PS of power. If you move up to the 60, as well as getting the slightly bigger battery, you get an increase in the motor power to 204 PS. And then, as I say, you then jump up to the 85, and there's 2 models available in that. So the biggest 77 kilowatt hour battery comes as either a single motor 285 PS output, or the dual motor 85X with a decent 300 PS output on the car. So it should be quite sprightly. Now, at the time of filming this sneak peek, there was no official word on UK pricing as yet, but given where Škoda tend to sit in the marketplace, with being quite aggressive with some of the pricing, and, as I say, the fact that the cars that this is probably going to compete with, if I was a gambling man, I'd be thinking it's going to be somewhere around about the sort of like the mid kind of £30,000, you know, 34, 35, 36,000 pounds kind of starting price. Maybe moving up to just a tickle over the 40 for a fully spec'd out one. But as I say, that's later to be confirmed, and hopefully we get a chance to do the full AutoEV road test on the car later this year, beginning of next. Now, we've spoken briefly a little bit about the sort of competition that the Elroq is going to face when it comes onto the market. So it's worthwhile just going over the cars that it could compete with if you're out there looking to buy a car of this size and you're thinking of going all electric. Well, of course, the car I've mentioned quite a lot through this review is the Kia EV3, a car that we did a sneak peek in earlier this year. And that is a car that's going to compete very much with the Elroq. It's a similar size, very kind of similar sort of chunky little sort of like B segment SUV. It's a very popular segment right across Europe, and this is a very important car for Škoda as well, because that marketplace is so big. I mean, the 3 biggest marketplaces are Germany, the UK and France. So as well as the EV3, you could also maybe consider maybe even the Niro EV as well from Kia. And of course, within that same group, you've got the Hyundai Kona electric, which is another car which adopts quite a sort of like a small, sort of like chunky type of SUV that's perfect for the small suburban family as they're trying to position its car for. Now, of course, there's going to be more electric offerings from the likes of Ford as well. We've seen the new Explorer, but there's also going to be an electric version of the Puma, which is one of the big selling cars in this sector, and that's going to be a car this will compete with, as well as the Stellantis group offerings from Peugeot with the E2008, Vauxhall's Mokka-e, Fiat's 600e, and of course the Jeep Avenger, although I will say it certainly feels a bit more spacious than the latter sort of like three of those, and a little bit more aligned lines with the sort of like the Peugeot in that sense. Citroen, of course, I've got the new EC3 Aircross, another car that's going to be very, very popular with families in here, especially given the price point of that particular car. So that's going to be another car to look out for too. And of course, you may see a competition coming from much further overseas with things such as the BYD with the Atto 3 and perhaps even something like the MG ZS, although that feels like that's starting to feel its age a little bit now with certainly some of the European cars that we're seeing come to the marketplace so far. Two of which that I haven't mentioned are two very, very hot little numbers from the Europeans, which are the Volvo EX30 and of course its sister car under the Geely umbrella, the Smart #1. So that's it, my whistle-stop sneak peek of the new Škoda Elroq. Now, it's taken Škoda a little while to get a new electric vehicle to market, but given how good the Enyaq still is after all of these years, and given how good Škoda's reputation is at just building good, solid, dependable, reliable family cars, I wouldn't bet on the Elroq not being another success for the Czech firm. Thank you for watching yet another episode of AutoEV. As always, please make sure you are subscribed to the AutoEV channel. Once you've done that, press the little bell button down below, because that way you'll get a notification of when our next video is uploaded and is gone live. If you have enjoyed the video, then make sure you give it a thumbs up, and don't forget, leave me your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think of the new Škoda Elroq? Is it on your shopping list? Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for also putting up for this slightly rushed episode and for other people being in shot as well, but we thought it was important to be here and bring you the first glimpse of the car as soon as we were able to, so I hope you don't mind that. Now remember, we're across all social media as well, so Facebook, X, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, all the rest of it, so please give a follow there. And if you're in the marketplace for an electric car, whether it is a new one or a pre-owned one, then you'll need to know all the gory details about it, then have a search through our back catalogue on the YouTube channel, because if it's been a new electric car in the UK market in the last 4 or 5 years, then we've subjected it to the actual road test that car buyers trust when it comes to choosing their next electric vehicle, the AutoEV one. All that remains for me to say is thank you once again for watching. Thank you for continuing to support the AutoEV channel. I've got to go and catch a flight now. See you soon.